Hey guys, welcome back to episode 6 of Two Girls Chirping. I'm Lauren.
I'm Abby.
And updates for this week. I don't really have anything that I want to comment on about this week other than the fact that the Devils and the Islanders play tonight, and I'm pretty stressed about both Ferraris playing each other.
One Tifosi, one non.
I know. I think I'm going to have to go for the Devils just because I've been putting a lot of work into watching them play.
Yeah.
And I just love them. I just love them.
I love to see. I think since we talked about, ever since we were like, Nico is carrying this team on his back. His back is hurting. They really stepped up.
They heard. They listened to the pod.
Yes, it's all us. We get all the credit for that.
Yes, that was 100% us. This week was a test week, so I didn't have a lot of free time to do anything other than cry and study and work and vote. So yeah, quite a week.
It has been a week.
Who are we talking about today?
We are talking about the Ottawa Senators and the Florida Panthers.
The Ottawa?
Ottawa, it's in Canada.
Okay.
This might seem like an odd pairing because it's Miami, Florida, Ottawa, Canada.
Oh, I got on my Miami hat, maybe.
Oh, I didn't even know about that.
I didn't know that.
But I wanted to talk about these two teams together because there's two brothers that play for either team. In this family...
There's another Hughes family?
There's a lot of siblings that play, but this family I would consider another Hughes family.
Okay.
They've got so many ties.
Okay, let's get into it. I freaking love a family affair. It's a business. It's a business.
It's a business.
If you know, you know.
So, Ottawa Senators is who we're going to start with. Mm-hmm. There's two different Ottawa Senators. So, originally, back in 1883, the Ottawa Senators were formed. That was before the NHL was even a thing, because the NHL became an establishment in 1917. They joined at that point, and they played through 1934.
Okay.
Before they ultimately dissolved as a team. They suspended the franchise, actually, and all of those players were just allocated to other teams. They weren't very...
Why?
They were super successful in before and in the early years, but the past 5 years that they were established, they came into a lot of financial problems, and it just was better to just dissolve.
Tale as old as time.
That Ottawa Senators, though, is insane. They have 11 Stanley Cups.
Okay.
Yeah, they have 6 dynasty eras.
Okay, Bruins.
From 1919 all the way through 1927. Those were considered their dynasty eras.
They did that for almost a decade?
For 6 seasons, yes.
Shoot, okay.
And they didn't really have conferences or divisions back then, so I don't really have much to talk about with that, but I think I'm going to do a quick little maybe 20-minute video at some point discussing the original Senators.
Okay.
We're going to talk about the current ones now, but I was like, I can't just ignore that.
No.
No. I'm referring to the original Senators as Red Bull, and I'm referring to the current Ottawa Senators as AlphaTauri. Just because they're more successful than I think AlphaTauri would be, but they really do lead kind of the midfield. They've never won a Stanley Cup, but I said mainly when you've had Red Bull success, you can never recreate it on the same level. AlphaTauri was created because Red Bull had so much success. Mm-hmm. But that doesn't stop them from popping off on occasion. Yuki Tsunoda's out there doing the thing.
He does.
Yeah.
And he screams profanities the entire time.
Period. I have a funny video to show you of one of the guys on this team, Brady Kachuck, is actually the team captain, chirping a guy and saying, "You have the biggest fucking head in the league. Fucking mega mind over there."
Oh my God.
It's so good.
What a that would cut me to the bone.
It's so good. Current Ottawa Senators, they were founded in 1992 at the same
Okay.
time that Tampa Bay Lightning, which is also in Florida, was founded. Their current coach is Travis Green, who, this means nothing to you, but last year when the New Jersey Devils fired Lindy Ruff, Travis Green was an assistant coach. He stepped up and was interim head coach.
Step coach? No, he's the coach that stepped up.
I knew you had something to say. I could see it in your eyes. But yeah, they've won no Stanley Cups. They have made the Stanley Cup finals once, but they lost, obviously. They only have one conference championship in 2007, but they have 4 division championships.
Okay, I agree with AlphaTauri.
Yeah.
They're not doing a whole bunch of anything in particular.
When they rejoined the NHL, they were provided a certificate of reinstatement.
Okay.
Because they were taking on the new name. So while the team honors and has the banners for the 11 Stanley Cups, the NHL does not recognize that as their record. It's just kind of like we're considering you the same team, but not.
They're so bitchy.
I agree with it, though, because they went 60 years. I think that's a reasonable time to be like, okay, but this is a brand new thing.
I'm gonna have to disagree with you there.
Okay. There was one surviving member of the original team when they had their first, or when they got the rights to recreate the Ottawa Senators.
What? How old was he?
Like 90. And he was supposed to drop the first puck at the game, but he died the Christmas before they actually started. But they retired his jersey still. And his son ended up coming and doing the puck drop at the first game.
Cute.
Yeah, very cutesy. Okay, let's go to the 1980s. The NHL announced its plan to expand. Bruce Firestone,
Okay.
not from Firestone.
Firestone, the official tires of the NTT IndyCar series.
I do a really good impression of that.
Oh, yeah. Hers absolutely destroys mine.
I will never get over the fact that they changed their commercials.
Your imitation of the Firestone commercial was so good, they had to redo their entire marketing plan.
They heard me do it and said, we can't beat it.
They said, we're going to have to give royalties, and we can't.
Yeah.
We got to change the whole thing.
Yeah. But this is not that Firestone. It's the late 1980s. Bruce Firestone wanted to be a part of this team. Mm-hmm. He has a company called Terrence Investments.
Okay.
And they launched a bid to basically be like, hey, we'll put a team in this city, please, and thank you. However, they did not have the liquid assets to pay the league. So they came up with this bid of, we're going to take all of this land that we have, and we're going to build an arena, and we're basically going to build a city around it. And that's going to generate revenue that we're going to then.
Okay.
And yeah.
Did it work?
Yes.
Okay. I never doubted it.
Which is crazy. Their whole bid was bring back the Senators.
Okay.
And the public loved it so much that they had so much support. Mm-hmm. And they actually had 11,000 season ticket pledges before they even got the go-ahead with it.
Okay.
So I think the league realized how much that the town wanted a team.
Yeah.
Oh, and also to kick off the press conference for that bid, they brought Frank Finnegan in there, and he spoke to everybody and basically encouraged and gave his endorsement of the team. The land they planned on developing was for agricultural use.
Okay.
So they had to get special permission from the government, the Canadian government, to build on that land. And that was such a lengthy process. While they were going through that whole process, Anaheim, California, actually offered them $20 million to come and play in a stadium that was already built.
Okay.
And they turned it down and stated, we didn't bring the Ottawa Senators back to play in Anaheim. Now, there is currently Anaheim. There is a team in Anaheim right now.
Okay.
So they got their team eventually, but I think that was silly-goosey. Like, I get the principle of it, I do, but they're going to come into so many financial problems.
I get the principle, but I also get you have no money. Go take the money, leave later. Chase
to
the
an
money.
extent. In this, you kind of have to. But
Yeah.
their first season, they won their first game.
Okay.
The rest of the season, absolutely brutal. They actually tied for worst in the NHL.
That is so embarrassing. But
Yeah.
but honestly, not unexpected.
Not unexpected. It's a new team.
Yeah.
There's supposed to be growing pains.
The bar
They
is in
were-
hell. The bar is at 0.
Yeah.
Okay.
They were actually very open, the owners of this team and the management of this team. They were very open about how they didn't plan on finishing high at all because they knew it was going to be a development process, but they also knew that at this time, the draft picks were based off of where you ranked. So they were pretty open about, we're not going to be good, but we'll get good draft picks.
We're going to be the worst so that we can get good players.
Yeah. And so they tied for worst in the first season. The next 3 seasons, they finished dead last in the league. And over the first 5 seasons, they did indeed draft 5 players that became a very strong core for that team.
Okay.
However, because they were so open and honest to the press, they were fined $100,000. And then the draft rule actually was changed in 1995 when they started doing the lottery.
I do agree with how they changed it.
I agree too.
I just think it's so funny how multiple teams were like, no, we're going to be the worst so that we can get the best players. We don't even care about winning. We want to be the worst.
Yeah.
Long
and then
game.
It's kind of just, I know, play the long game, but I don't like when teams throw their seasons. In 1996, they hired Jacques Martin as head coach. He was head coach from 1996 to 2004. Every season that he was there, they made the playoffs.
Okay.
And they actually won 3 out of their 4 division titles while he was there.
All right, Coach Martin.
Yeah.
Okay.
All
right. Look at him go.
He really prioritized defense, which I think is why they were so good. It was less about their scoring opportunities and more about the opponent's lack of scoring opportunities. He was actually dismissed because even in the playoffs, they would go to like the first or second round and then go out. They never had much long-term playoff success. So he was dismissed at the end of the 2003-2004 season. They hoped to bring in a coach that would give them more playoff. Well, yeah,
Where's the loyalty?
But I will say in 2002, and I like him because of this, in 2002, he actually stepped aside as head coach for 2 games so that Roger Nielsen, who was an assistant coach at the time, could reach 1,000 games coached.
Okay,
like as a head
I like
coach
that.
mark. And I really like when they do that stuff.
It's so classy.
It makes me happy.
It's so respectful.
Like, it's bigger than just you. I get it.
It's green flags all around. A pluses.
Okay, it's not going to surprise you, I'm sure. They did have to file bankruptcy.
Wow. I'm absolutely rocked to my core.
They never really had the funds going into it at all. And so it's a series of their creditors, people that they partnered with to have the money to pay the NHL. It's a series of them going bankrupt as well. So in 1993, Terrence missed mortgage payments and a development payment.
Yikes.
He ended up being replaced as club president at that time by Rob Braden, who did hold that role for 10 years afterwards. In 2000, their majority owner appealed for tax relief from the Canadian government. He actually did that for all NHL teams because inflation was so bad in Canada at the time that their dollar value dropped significantly, and it was bad.
Relatable.
They started to build a plan with the government, but it was ultimately canceled. So that was just another, their dollar value was way lower than the U.S.
Series of unfortunate events.
Mm-hmm. And then in 2002, Hodgson Entertainment, which was another one of their creditors, filed for bankruptcy. They had a $20 million loan for development that was supposed to give Hodgson 30 years of management to the facility while they paid them back.
Okay.
They officially filed for bankruptcy in August of 2003.
Okay.
In both The team and the arena were bought by Eugene Milnick in the offseason, who had actually expressed interest in buying the team for years.
Okay.
So again, I think it just comes down to Anaheim offered, they turned it down. This guy had been offering for years. They kept turning him down, and then ultimately they had to give it up regardless. Can't have your cake and eat it too.
You can't have your cake if you can't afford to make the cake, you know?
Fair. Fair enough. So the 2003 season, while all of this was going on with the bankruptcy and everything, the team did receive emergency funds from the NHL so that they could continue to play.
Okay.
They won their first President's Trophy that year, which is the most regular season points scored by a team.
Okay, cool.
And they had their highest finish in 77 years from the original Ottawa Senators.
Like, what are we... Was that like a fact that the NHL rolled out?
No, that's just a fun fact.
Okay, I was about to absolutely dive in, but I'm gonna not.
Yeah. And then in 2004-2005 season was canceled because of the lockout, the labor disputes. 2005 to 2006, they were being absolutely gassed up by the media.
Okay.
In a positive way.
Okay.
They took the lockout season and really developed their players.
Good.
And the media was like, they're going to have such a strong season because of that.
Yeah.
And they won 19 of their first 22 games of the season.
Shoot, okay.
They placed first in the conference and second in the league.
Okay.
Their number one line at that time, I love when people give a line a nickname.
Okay.
Their line was the Cash line.
Oh, okay.
It stood for Captain Alfredson, Spezza, and Heatley. Those were the three players on the team. It was the captain, Spezza, and Heatley.
Okay, I love that.
I love it.
It's not as good as the perfection line, but I like it.
The perfection line is so good.
Chef's kiss.
Oh, it's so good. Despite them having so much success in the regular season and winning the President's Trophy, they still lost in the second round of the playoffs.
Okay.
And at the end of the season, a lot of their players were either free agents and went to different teams or were traded.
So the cash line was broken up.
Yes.
Okay. Bummer.
In the 2006-2007 season, they started off really rough. By December, they had a 21-18 record. So they lost pretty much the exact same amount of games that they won.
Yeah.
But they rallied and they came back and they won the division title. And they made the playoffs. This was actually the time that they went to the finals. In the first round, they beat the Penguins. 4-1.
Okay.
In round 2, they beat the Devils 4-1.
Okay.
In round 3, they beat Buffalo 4-1.
All right.
And in the Stanley Cup, they actually lost to Anaheim.
Full circle.
4-1.
Shut up.
Yes.
Oh, the symbolism. You should have just taken Anaheim's money.
You should have.
We could have avoided so much of this.
I get it. They wanted Ottawa Senators. I respect it. I respect them for standing on business, though.
You know,
I just think it's silly-goosey to look back.
I just respect people who can afford to do what they're trying to do.
Yeah.
Like, we didn't have any money. We were going to build a whole town. I like that. But if someone offers you money, you take the money.
Yeah.
You don't further your debt. I feel. I'm just a nurse, though. What do I understand about numbers?
I don't know. I respect it.
Yeah. Love that for you. I respect the cash line. And Coach Martin.
The cash line when they actually had no cash.
They should have called it the credit line because we were shopping on credit. Yeah. Apparently.
The debt line.
Oof. Yeah.
Okay. 2007 to 2011, they weren't competitive. There's nothing really to note. They were bad.
Okay.
In the 2011 season, oh my gosh, this is the whole reason I'm mentioning this season.
Okay.
Mike Fisher. Do you know who Mike Fisher is?
No.
Do you know who Carrie Underwood is?
I knew that name. Yes. That man is like a little angel.
Mm-hmm. He was traded. He played at Ottawa.
Okay.
He was traded to Nashville because he wanted to be.
Because he hated it.
Because his wife was there.
Yeah.
This is why I mentioned it. Because he was such a fan favorite by Senators fans, it led to a lot of Carrie Underwood backlash because we always blame the woman. We never blame the man.
Yeah.
And
God forbid a man want to go live where his wife is.
yeah.
The audacity.
God forbid. And local radio stations actually banned her songs from being played.
It's petty.
Mm-hmm.
If it wasn't Carrie Underwood, I would be laughing. But how are you going to hate on Carrie Underwood?
Carrie Underwood. Also in this offseason, so many other players were traded. I just wanted to point that one out because it's Carrie Underwood's husband.
I was like, why do I know that name?
Yeah, I didn't know if you would know it off the top of your head or not.
It sounded familiar. I didn't know it.
2011-2012 season, most people thought they would suck.
Mm-hmm.
They had fully entered a rebuilding era before the 2011 postseason where everybody was traded.
Yeah.
So nobody was expecting much of anything, but they actually didn't do terrible at all. They made the playoffs, and they made the second round of the playoffs too.
I think that should be their team logo from what I've heard so far.
Everybody thought they'd be bad, but they weren't that bad.
They were just all right.
They didn't suck.
They didn't suck. They weren't great. Strictly mid.
Yeah, they are strictly mid. In 2018, another kind of rebuild era because the first rebuild didn't work. Because they're not the Boston Bruins where every rebuild works.
They're not the Boston Bruins is the understatement of the episode so far.
But in the 2018 offseason, they drafted Brady Kachuck fourth overall. Matthew Tkachuk's younger brother.
Okay.
Which we're going to talk about. I should have talked about Florida first, but it doesn't matter. So the Kachuck family runs deep in the NHL world. Their dad played in the NHL for years. 18 of them, to be specific.
Golly.
Keith Kachuck.
Okay.
He is one of 5 American players to ever score 500 goals in his career.
Okay.
And he is considered pretty widely to be the greatest American-born player in the NHL.
No way.
Yeah.
What a freaking legacy.
They also have so many other familial connections. Like their cousin is the general manager for the New Jersey Devils.
Okay.
They have multiple cousins in the league too.
Okay.
They run deep.
They bleed in NHL.
They bleed NHL. And Keith Tkachuk, despite being so talented, never won a Stanley Cup.
Okay.
And I'm gonna save that. I'm gonna save that for when we talk. Florida Panthers won the Stanley Cup last year. And there's a video of Matthew Tkachuk giving it to his dad for his dad to be able to hold the Stanley Cup. And
I will cry.
I cried. They draft Brady Tkachuk in 2018.
Okay.
Just before the season opener, they traded their captain at the time for, quote, a large package of players and draft picks. Regardless, they finished last in the league. Here's another thing that the Senators do.
Okay.
They trade their draft picks and just cross their fingers and hope it works out in their favor.
They're Alpha Tauri.
Yes. And more times than not, it doesn't. For instance, in that captain trade, they traded some of their draft picks around too. There was a lot going on in it. They didn't even have a first round pick for the 2019 draft. I don't know.
What are they?
Yeah. And it really screwed them.
It should.
They're screwing themselves.
They are doing their hardest work to be terrible.
Yeah. I still like them, though. I don't know why. In the 2019-2020 season, again, they're still rebuilding. I think they've been rebuilding since they started being built.
They never built anything, it sounds like.
They never built anything. They got a new head coach, DJ Smith.
Okay. DJ Smith.
Yes, that's what I thought of too.
All I do is lose no matter what. We trade everybody and we don't give a fuck.
He really shifted the organization from just trading from everything to developing their young and talented players like Brady Tkachuk. And it did kind of work out for them. Unfortunately, that season was cut short because of COVID. And so COVID shut down that season about halfway through, and then also shortened the following season. They had like mediocre finishes in both of them, though. In 2021, their general manager told the press before the season began, "The rebuild is done. Now we're stepping into another zone." They were very quickly eliminated from playoff contention.
They are so delusional.
But Brady Tkachuk signed a 7-year deal and became the captain at just 22 years old. It's not that I'm pointing out a lot of the bad things. They're just overall mediocre. And he's a good player. I just don't
but
get
you
why
need more
he would
than
go
one good
somewhere
player.
else. Yeah, look at the Pittsburgh Penguins.
You mean Sidney Crosby's team?
Yeah.
It is so funny how they always go, Sidney Crosby and the Penguins. Like, but they just want you to know, like, yeah, the Penguins are going to be there, but most importantly, Sidney will be there.
Yep.
He will be out playing.
In 2022,
Brady Kachuck and the Senators will be playing tonight.
So they changed ownership in 2022.
Okay.
Their owner dies.
They have the worst luck.
He dies, and he always wanted his daughters to take over.
Okay.
Yeah, period. And so they did.
Women in
They
leadership.
became majority owners. Their partial owner is Michael Andlauer, who also a part owner of the Canadians.
Oh.
Yeah.
So you just get to dip your toes into multiple teams?
I'm surprised there's not a rule about that, but oh well. Them, and then there's some other businessmen that are also part owners. But the majority owners are his daughters.
Okay.
Yeah. I think that they are
please tell me they're doing better.
At the time of this, they were 20 and 21.
Okay.
So they probably were like, please. I don't know what to do here. But I respect it. I like that they're there. That's all I really have for them. They're still mediocre.
And you like them?
I like their vibe.
Maybe I'll have to see their vibe. I
can't necessarily cheer for them. I think, okay, and I'm going to say something, it's a bit controversial. I really like the Tkachuk Brothers. A lot of people don't like them because they kind of play like assholes. But I like them, and I don't know why, and I don't have a reason.
When you say they play bad, do you mean the Rangers, or do you mean more like the bad boys of hockey?
I think more like the bad boys of hockey.
Okay.
They're just very in your face, and they're verbally harsh. I like it, though. Like fucking Megamind, that iconic, actually.
That's a really good one.
It's giving the level of iconic of Jack Hughes saying, people pay to watch me play. And they do. People do pay to watch him play.
People pay to watch me play. I just know
so sassy.
I just know he said it in the most
he
sassy
said it with
voice.
His full chest, too.
He's a middle child.
100%.
We fully commit.
Yeah. Can confirm y'all do. I don't know.
I want them to do better, I guess. But as long as they're serving one-liners like that, I'm not too worried about them.
Yeah. The Florida Panthers.
Hold on, please.
Okay.
Time won't fly like I'm paralyzed by it. I can be my own self again, but I'm still trying to find it. After a bad shirt days and nights when you made me, you're wrong. Now you know that my things and I walk home alone. But you keep my old scar from that very first week. Cause it reminds you of innocence and it smells like me. You can't get rid of it. Cause you remember it all too well. Yeah. This day we have a kid and I loved you so. Back before you lost the one real thing you ever know. It was where I was there. I remember it all too well.
Okay, I feel better.
Absolute bang.
I just needed to get that off my chest. Just needed to let that out.
Okay, Florida Panthers, I put as Alpine.
Couple of losers. Sorry.
I said it because they're young, newer, and currently popping off. Like, Alpine kind of popped off at this race.
That was an accident.
That was an accident. It's true. They very much lean into the entertainment side of things, and they have a history. Their founders were pretty big names, and I think about Alpine, how, Patrick Mahomes is an owner of the team, I'm pretty sure Travis Kelce is an owner of the team, and it kind of gives that.
So is Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah, Ryan Reynolds. I forgot about him. And that energy just gave me Alpine vibes.
Okay.
And I'm trying to swap it up, but it's hard.
Hey, when you see a Ferrari, you got to call it a Ferrari.
So they were founded in 1993.
Okay.
At the same time as the Anaheim Ducks. So to put it into perspective with the Senators, the Ducks were formed, Anaheim was formed literally the next year. They have won one Stanley Cup. They won the Stanley Cup last year.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. They have 3 conference championships, 1996, 2023, and 2024.
Okay.
Yeah, so recent.
2023 and 2024?
The past 2 years.
Shoot.
And they have 4 division championships, 2012, 2016, 2022, and 2024. So these past 4 years, they've really kind of come into their own. What's up?
You said they're Alpine? Who was the best of the mid last season in Formula One?
Was it McLaren?
Was it Aston Martin? Or was it McLaren?
They give Alpine vibes, though. Because of, like, the entertainment aspect of it all.
Just the celebrities?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll allow that.
And they're based out of Miami.
Okay.
I don't know. They just... probably statistically, they're more Aston Martin, McLaren-esque. But vibe-wise, it's Alpine.
Okay, I'll allow it.
So, their founder, he is most known for founding BlockBuster,
Okay, yeah, I've heard of that. I remember.
AutoNation,
Don't know that.
the big sponsor for Kyle Kirkwood's car in IndyCar.
Oh my God, I've got the memory of a goldfish.
And,
So sorry.
Waste Management, the trash company.
Okay. Does he have mafia ties?
No, his family actually, his grandparents started a dumpster business, and they had like 2 dumpsters, and he grew that and created Waste Management that we know today, sold that and created BlockBuster, sold BlockBuster, created AutoNation, founded this team.
I'd like to say something.
Okay.
Redbox never hit like
No.
BlockBuster did.
No,
I miss BlockBuster. I miss it so much, actually.
Yeah. He also used to own the Miami Dolphins, the NFL team,
Okay.
and the Florida Marlins baseball.
He runs deep
the
in
MLB.
Florida.
So he is just a businessman to his core,
A Florida man.
100%. He initially wanted the team to be named the BlockBusters.
That would have been, think of the merch.
Oh, it would have been so good.
Oh, what about
and their
that?
color scheme and logo is going to all be kind of like it. But the NHL did reject it.
Lame.
They were just
So lame.
They were scared of what it could have been. So Wayne had a team that he had started and sold all these companies with.
Okay.
So when he started this team, naturally, a lot of the front office workers, the business side of it, were those members.
Yeah.
And their vice president of business operations, Dean Jordan, admitted about halfway through the first season that none of the business people, including himself, knew anything about hockey.
Same.
I
Listen to our podcast. We'll teach you everything you need to know.
Yeah, they did have the most successful first season, or one of the most successful first seasons of any expansion team in history.
Okay.
Barely missing out on the playoffs in their first 2 seasons.
Nice.
Yeah.
This is what I want to hear.
Yeah.
This is movie gold. This is cinema.
This is blockbuster material. The 1995-96 season.
Okay.
On the night of their home opener. So you will see toy rats throughout their games. This is why.
I don't like where this is headed.
On the night of their home opener, a rat ran across the team's locker room. Scott Mellenby reacted by one-timing it across the room, killing it. He scored 2 goals that night, and their goalie came out and made a joke to the press about how he really scored 3 goals, the rat being 1, and they called it the rat trick.
I feel really bad for that rat.
I
They
do
should have just
too, but it's so funny.
rehomed. Oh my gosh. I mean, that's very clever.
Yeah.
I'm still gonna call PETA.
Fans started throwing rubber rats on the ice that season when they scored a goal.
I like that.
And that over that season, they collected over 2,000 rubber rats. Unfortunately, that tradition kind of fizzled out until later on.
I'm glad.
And we'll circle back. But it did lead to their biggest partnership with Orkin Pest Control.
No way.
Yes.
That is so freaking funny.
So funny.
Do we know what they did with the rats that were thrown on ice?
The rubber rats? I have no idea.
I hope we recycled.
They made it to the playoffs that season and upset the top seed, which was Philadelphia at the time, as well as the second seed, which was Pittsburgh, and they reached the Stanley Cup Finals that season. They ended up losing to Colorado, but that was like the first time they'd ever reached the finals.
Look at them go.
Mm-hmm. They began the next season with a 12-game win streak.
Nice.
But lost in the playoffs, in the first round of the playoffs, to the Rangers, who had Wayne Gretzky at the time. So
I can't say anything about that.
no.
But I'd like to.
Yeah.
Fuck the Rangers. But also, mad respect to Wayne Gretzky. I don't want to say anything ill about him.
No. 1997 to 98, terrible times.
Okay.
They had a 15-game losing streak.
What happened?
They just fumbled.
Where did I go wrong?
I lost 15 games in one solid streak. I lost the rhythm in that one. They did, however, in 1999 acquire Pavel Bure, also known as the Russian Rocket.
Okay, I like where this is headed.
He was acquired from the Vancouver Canucks, and in his first 6 games, he scored 8 goals and 3 assists. So he popped off.
In his first how many games?
6 games.
He did all of that?
Yeah, he had 11 points in his first 6 games. And they made the 2000s playoffs before falling into another slump again.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, King. In 2001, after a bad season, ownership changed. For years, they also just made the wrong draft picks or the wrong trades. They missed the playoffs for 9 consecutive seasons from 2001 to 2010 and changed majority ownership again in 2009.
A bit of a slump there, huh?
Mm-hmm. In 2010, they hired a new general manager, Dale Talon, who began the rebuild of the team. He drafted 3 players and acquired 5 big players. And by the end of the 2011 season, they only had 2 players that remained from before the lockout. So they said, we're going to start from scratch.
They said we're a bit tired. We're gonna sit on the back burner for a little bit. We're gonna suck it up. We're gonna try something new.
A new head coach was named. Their 11th. This was 2011. They were founded in 1996. Their 11th head coach. And they completely rebranded. They had a new jersey. They had a new color scheme. They had so many trades and acquisitions. And just, I love rebuild. They said, start over. We're going to scrap it all.
They said we're gonna build a new Pinterest board.
Yes. But it worked because in the 2011-2012 season, they made the playoffs. They won their first ever division title in franchise history.
Okay.
And the rats returned. Fans started throwing the rats on the ice again.
That is so funny. They're like, oh my God, they're winning again.
Yes.
Where are the rats? We need the rats.
We need the rats. Where are they going to
How will they know that they're winning if we don't throw rats at them?
They actually sell them now in the merch store at the arena.
I love that for them.
Yeah. They did from 2012 to 2015, had more bad seasons. They fired their head coach in 2014. His replacement was also fired. Their home opener of the 2014-2015 season had the lowest attendance in team history, and they broke that record the next game.
Oh, that's so sad.
In 2015, they announced that they would have another round of new logos and uniforms.
They said it worked once.
It worked once. Let's try
Let's
it again.
try it again.
And what do you know? The following season, they had a 12-game win streak.
There we go. Ladies and gentlemen, we're back. Where are the rats? Can we roll the rats?
It's like the equivalent of a girl going through a breakup and dyeing her hair. But it worked.
That's not what happened with my hair.
No. They set a franchise record for the most wins in a regular season. They won their second division title, and they made the playoffs. They did lose in the first round, though.
We still went. What a little glow up.
Mm-hmm. But from 2016
Don't
to
say
2020,
No.
they failed to make the playoffs for 4 straight seasons. Dave Talon was removed from general manager in 2022 and was replaced with Bill Zito, who is still the GM today. They also returned to a bad stretch of bad draft picks and bad trades. 2021, their season was shorter from COVID, but they made the playoffs again.
Okay.
We're
back.
Yeah. They had 79 points in just 56 games.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Look at them go.
Finishing just 1 point behind Carolina, who had led the division. So they were second in their division.
All right, nice.
But only by 1 point.
Bring out the rats.
Yeah. They went to the playoffs. They lost in round 1 to Tampa Bay, who ended up going and winning the cup that season. So I feel like it hurts less.
I don't know. You're in the same state. That's basically your cousin team.
Yeah, that is like their rival because they're in the same state. Yeah.
Yeah.
The following season, they had a 7-game win streak from the start of the season. And Joel Quenneville resigns. He was the coach at the time. He did, however, coach for Chicago in 2010. In 2021, a former Chicago Blackhawks player came forward. He was sexually assaulted by Brad Aldrich, who is the former video coach at Chicago. The whole reason that...
Immediately to jail.
Yeah. This all happened during the playoffs of that season. And he told management, and the executives knew, and they had a meeting and decided to delay addressing the problem until after the Stanley Cup Finals to, quote, not risk messing up the team chemistry.
Are you serious? You had a player that was sexually assaulted? Mm-hmm. First of all, you had one of your players assaulted by your staff, mm-hmm. and you are going to send the message, oh, you better just be quiet because we're in a competitive season right now. We'll figure it out later. Are you serious right now?
They fired Brad Aldrich, as they should, but...
Not soon enough.
No. And honestly, nobody knew that any of this happened because that all happened in 2010. When all of those reports came out, nobody knew who the player was. It was just listed as John Doe.
Okay.
And in 2021, Kyle Beach is the one that came forward, and in an interview, he told this story, and he told about his side about saying the executives knew and that they waited until after the playoffs to do anything.
Oh, that poor baby.
Yeah.
He must have felt so betrayed.
I bet he did. When all of this came out, a lot of the executives or like the coaches that were coaching that team at the time resigned from whatever teams they were at. As I fear they should. So their head coach resigned, and they named Andrew Burnett, who was a former Panthers player, as interim head coach. So that all happened in the 2021-2022 season. They became the first team that season to clinch a playoff spot.
Okay.
They became division champions again. They also... I'm so sorry.
Calm down. Calm down, Cup. Don't go anywhere.
They also won the President's Trophy. Yes.
They swept the award show.
Yes. And they lost, or they advanced past the first round of playoffs for the first time in 26 years.
Okay.
They lost in the second round to Tampa Bay.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Not our cousin.
In the offseason of 2022, they made a trade for Matthew Kachuck.
Okay.
You should remember that last name.
I think it's triggering something in this little brain of mine.
Yes, he is now an alternate captain. The 2022-2023 season, they were crippled by injuries.
Oh no.
But they made it to the playoffs.
How?
Just barely. They made it as a wild card position.
Okay, lovely.
As heavy underdogs, they won in round 1 against the Bruins.
Sorry. It had to be done.
Yeah.
We need it. We need it.
I think that's insane. They won in 7 games in overtime of the 7th game, too.
Oh, my gosh.
Against the Bruins.
Yeah.
With all those injuries and stuff. They advanced to the finals as well. They lost to Colorado at that time.
Okay.
The following season, this most recent season, they beat the Bruins for the Atlantic Division title.
Okay.
And then went on to beat the Oilers and won their first Stanley Cup. And it is beautiful. I loved it so much, actually.
Long overdue.
Yes.
Long overdue.
One thing well, let me talk about players first. Sam Reinhart. He's very talented. He's younger. He was the 2nd overall pick by Buffalo before being traded to Florida.
Okay.
Him and both of his brothers play in the NHL as well.
Wow.
He had 57 goals last season. Yeah.
Props.
And also, Alexander Barkov is
Okay.
another big player on this team. He was the number 2 pick in the 2013 draft. He became the youngest player to score a goal in his NHL debut.
Okay.
He is the franchise's all-time points leader.
Get it.
And their coach has said about him, quote, "He might be the most humble man I've ever met.
Ugh.
And he's certainly the most humble elite athlete I've ever met."
A sweetie pie.
Yeah, I really like it. So the reason I wanted to talk about these 2 teams together, also, I mean, obviously because the 2 brothers play for them, but there's also a game from last season in November where every player on ice received a 10-minute misconduct.
What?
Yes, and I have a video to show you that really just shows it all, but a fight broke out. Brady Kachuck got like goaltender interference. He was on a breakaway
Okay.
for the Senators, and someone else took him out. He got goaltender interference, and then a brawl just ensued on ice. And this was already a pretty aggressive game. There were a lot of penalties being thrown regardless, and at the time of this specific play, they were in the 3rd period. There was like 4 minutes left in the game, so they were just trying to keep everything under control for the next 4 minutes.
So we have 4 minutes left and everyone got a 10-minute penalty?
Yes. So the guy announces it. It's cinematic. It's like The Office. The ref comes out. He's like, every player on ice has a 10-minute penalty. It pans to the coaches on the bench, and the coach of the Florida Panthers is like counting the number of players he has on the bench to see who all he has left.
Would you call that a BlockBuster cinema experience?
I would, actually.
Okay.
Also comedic was the Kachucks were playing each other, so a lot of their family was there, including their grandparents. And it pans.
Oh, gosh.
It cuts to a video of their grandparents in the crowd when the penalty's announced, and they're like, "Oh gosh." It's so funny.
I'll have to watch it.
Yeah. It's so good. The delivery of every player on ice has a 10-minute misconduct.
Am I allowed to watch it?
Yeah, the Panthers did win that game 5-1. It's so good.
Oh, my God.
It's so good. Okay, we need to
Icon.
close this because it's getting dark.
I don't like the Senators. They're just...
That's okay. You don't have to like everybody. I like everybody.
You do. You
Every
like a
team I'm
lot
like,
of the
I
ones.
like them.
You like a lot of the ones that I don't like, and
True.
that's fine because we have very different types. I want them to do better.
They're good.
I don't believe in them though.
Yeah, fair.
But I also haven't seen them play. The Panthers, I like them better. I think the
Fair.
rat thing's really fun. I love when the crowd gets involved in anything.
I do too.
I love when something that starts as like a one-off joke ends up being like a crowd favorite. I just eat that up.
I love it.
I wish. I like that they actually won a couple times. That
Yeah.
the rebuilds actually rebuilt.
Yeah.
I am excited to see the Devils play the Islanders tonight. That'll be exciting. I think the Canes play tonight.
Yeah, they do.
I
I'm gonna stay
just
up.
want them to win because I want to watch the Storm Surge because that is so freaking cute.
That's all.
Well, as long as the Devils win, I'll be fine. But if they lose and the Islanders win, and I'll be less fine, but still okay.
Yeah.
And we've got the Christmas decorations up. And I'm making a little warm, cozy meal for dinner tonight. So everything's as good as it could possibly be in these current times.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank y'all for tuning in for episode 6 of Two Girls Chirping. We will be back here next week.
We are going to talk about the Montreal Canadiens
Finally.
and the Detroit Red Wings.
Oh, my God.
The 2 special guests in some of our recent episodes.
Yeah, they've been guest starring.
Yeah, might as well talk about them.
Are you going to be able to talk about Detroit?
Yeah.
Have you gotten over it?
I've gotten over it.
I'm so proud of you. It only took like 3 weeks.
Yeah.
I can't wait to watch the clip so I can see what got you so freaking fired up from Detroit and
from
the
that
Devils.
game?
Yeah. Right? Wasn't it the Devils?
Yeah. Yeah, it
Was
was
it the
Devils
Hurricanes?
because it was Dylan.
Okay. Well, we'll be back next week. And this is Two Girls Chirping. Bye.
Bye.
Bye now.